Uh-oh, zoom mode still active. Helmuth back in the mix. Morris deciding whether he wants to call this 3-bet because the action went as follows. Gupta made it 1,100 under the gun. Morris called. Then Helmuth made it 8,000
from the small blind.
From the small with Jack 5 off.
I take back what I said earlier. You remember I said, like, after he 4-bet with the 9 deuce, I said that's the last time he's going to be doing something like that, but it is not.
Yeah, so
he's done it again.
Helmuth getting called in 2 spots as 4, 6, 8 with 2 clubs rolls off the deck. Helmuth decides to check. Gupta misses. Morris's 9s looking strong here.
It's a pretty good flop for Helmuth, actually. He has the Jack of clubs and the gut shot with the 5 here. It's like, yeah, as good of a flop as he can hope for with this hand, basically. It's going to be interesting to see what he does if Morris bets here. Helmuth could just end up winning this hand. If Morris like puts out a small bet here, I could see Helmuth just check raising and winning the hand. That's a bit on the chunkier side though. Let's see if Helmuth still wants to do something. I mean, he has the hand for it.
Feels like Helmuth wanted to get aggressive here before the flop. Continuing now would get really expensive.
Yeah, he's going to go for it. Wait, is he calling?
Wow, he's calling with the Jack 5. Phil Helmuth is in a different universe than we are.
And now he's going to lead a bunch of turns, I guess?
I mean, it's Phil Helmuth. Hard to predict.
I would imagine he leads now. I would imagine he leads.
24,000.
Yeah, there we go.
Wow, Helmuth leading for 24K on the turn. Morris with pocket 9s. Now, of course, he just showed the Jack deuce with the 4-bet.
The 9 deuce, yeah.
The 9 deuce. Espen, how do we interpret this from Morris's perspective? He has a real hand.
I hate my life here in Morris's shoes, honestly. I hate it so much. Helmuth is known to be like kind of on the nadir side, right? He's not like super out of line dude. And here you're blocking like club draws, you're blocking 9-10 suited. Yeah, I don't know. You have an overpair, but like it doesn't really matter. Like you lose to all the other, you lose to every other overpair, and yeah, just depends if you believe him or not, I guess. Like we can see that he has like absolute rag hand here, right? So
well, the big concern, of course, is what is he going to do on the river if I call here?
I would love to see a call here and a blank river.
Absolutely massive pot here.
I would love to see if Helmuth has the balls to just pull the trigger here on like the 3 of hearts river.
Now what makes this even more interesting is the fact, oh wow, he does let it go. Are we going to see it again? No, quick into the muck. Helmuth with Jack 5 off. Zoom mode in full force. Up to 120.
It's in the call.
It's me all loosey-goosey eating a sandwich.
Too easy for Negreanu there. Might be too easy for Bucky here as he flops a king. Bless you.
100,000.
Thank you.
Allergies.
It's horrible out here.
Yeah,
in the
Negreanu
desert.
was
High winds.
talking about that earlier. I know you've struggled.
Yeah. I struggle with many things.
That's true.
Allergies are the least of my concerns.
1 minute check call.
What kind of sandwich is that? I mean, it's awfully thick.
Ace on the turn, not Wantman's Dream turn card.
Maybe for Daniel, consideration to fire a second shell. That ace hits him quite hard.
300,000.
There it is. 300 now to go. Gonna put Wantman in the blender. Have a bite.
Yeah, good bite. That sandwich has got to be for No Butcher, right? His favorite vegan sandwich shop in Vegas. No free ads,
Possibly, yeah, no free ads. Maybe
but
his wife Amanda put it together for him at home, you know? Look at this.
Oh, and it draws the fold from Wantman. That's got to feel nice if you're Daniel Negreanu.
Loves that. I don't think he expected to fold out a hand as good as King Jack.
Right.
Was hoping to be targeting an 8, but gets it done either way. Yeah, finish it off. Give us one more dive. There it is. Yeah, going full-blown Helmuth here. Just devouring this vegetable sandwich.
Yeah.
And his 10th PGT cash
Talking
of
about
the year.
the 15K.
Oh,
was a
yeah. We
5K
might
to
watch
make
him
that much of a
finish the whole
difference.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Takes a big, mean bite, doesn't it?
For a computer science professor too.
Come on, nobody really.
What's your introduction here, Professor?
Professor,
on poker.
unqualified.
Focus on poker.
Focus on poker.
Adam's an
Professor,
airball in there.
unqualified at maths, focused on poker.
Jack 8-7, 2 diamonds.
How much in the middle?
Professor's aces best at the moment.
Look at airball go here, though, with these 2 10s, Jeff. He's using that
So should
clearly
we have them
as
keep
a
the bets in
bluff.
front of us again because we're playing cap.
Trying to rep 9-10 right here, right
I forgot
now.
it was cap.
It seems better,
Take
right?
it 100K cap.
Good work. Adams
Let's
might just think
do-
he can be dead.
Why is it?
He's not going away.
Deal me in, deal me in.
6 on the turn. That makes Adams a straight.
He's got the smaller straight with 2 pair working. But airball, the only shot he's got is to continue betting. Now that flush gets there. Adams straight shrinks.
We'll check call once more. River Queen of Spades.
Beautiful
Oh,
airball.
airball.
More pressure.
And he'll show it to Adams.
Nobody applies more pressure than Nick Airball.
He had the straight blockers.
There's a flush out there.
Griff Stone does fine, thank you. Don't muddy the water with pros.
He is. We haven't seen any tilt. We see some pretty steady, disciplined play and mixing it up to confuse much more experienced opponents.
Could be Ronnie Barta's just in it for the good times over with the Griff group.
Check.
Griff checks middle pair.
Bet 8 million.
Inducing a bet of 8 million from Jonathan. Sorry to say inducing when I'm looking at Griff. He's got a pregnant wife.
Mayo just bottom of range there. C-betting a hand that really has no showdown value. Griff now has a straight draw to go with his pair.
Check.
And Tamayo doesn't like it. He just feels like there's probably a lot of 2-pair combos, straights possible, you know, hands that are not going to fold to another bet. But now this is a really interesting river, right? Because yes, Griff improves to 2-pair, but Tamayo can certainly have ace X's here with his raise pre-flop, C-bet on the flop, check back on the turn. Maybe
He's going to give it a shot.
Yeah, maybe sometimes has some 9X as well. And now
Going big?
Yeah.
Going big.
Ooh, kings up for Griff, which opened the door for this bluff from Tamayo.
1.5x pot here from Tamayo. Puts a lot of pressure on 2-pair hands.
With the shorter stack, as Griff has. Can he sniff it out or just look him up for the heck of it?
Page of the solvers, look them up for the heck of it on.
You do have to
Usually 86.
86. Touche.
You do have to wonder if 9x takes the sizing right, if some of the lower end of the straight goes this sizing versus the Broadway straights. I mean, it's from.
Oh, wow, and it gets
Nice.
through. What a river card. What a play by Tamayo.
She's also making some hands, which obviously helps, but she's slowly but surely extended her lead here. As we see 9-9-3 on the flop, Negreanu hitting a pair of threes.
$180.
Daniel comes with a check raise here. Foxon makes the call. That's 7-8, you know, wrapped a little bit around the 9. It's also got backdoor clubs.
Yeah, it's the modern game of poker. If you even as much as sort of have a sliver of the flop, you're going to be excited to see the turn. The turn, in this case, not very helpful for Foxon, but still, she has options here. Negreanu with just a pair of threes, not looking too strong.
10 seconds. $175. $175.
No incentive for Foxon to play this slow as she has nothing going for her. But for Negreanu, this is also a terrible situation. You're short. You only have a pair of threes. You know that Foxon can do this with air as well as with strong hands. The fact that it wasn't raised before the flop, perhaps giving Negreanu a bit more confidence. And again, the counterfeit. This happened earlier with kings and queens on board when Daniel hit a pair of sixes. Now kings and nines on board. And Foxon's 8 high is best here. Everything going Foxon's way so far.
She might end up betting this here, just thinking that she needs to bluff at this one.
10 seconds. 550. 550.
All in.
All in. Fold. Nice hand.
Next.
Negreanu comes with a
don't know if
check
50 is on
raise
there.
all in.
Wow.
Look at that.
That is insane. Negreanu check raised all in
That
after
would be a sick
Foxon
bluff.
bet 550K.
Nice. It really was.
Sick. A 3 something?
Deuce 3.
Yeah, I
I
thought you
said
had a
fuck
3.
it. I was like,
We got trips for Zach. Not what you want to see in PLO in your hand.
Let's see if he gives off any sort of reaction.
Colopy did limp in, so Zach could elect to see a free flop here.
Yeah, let's see if we can flop quads. Oh, no.
Well, he can't.
Colby
Colopy's
has
got
the
that
last
case 8.
Wow. So
7-6-5.
Colopy does flop the straight, the 8 high straight, but Danzak has 3 8s in his hand.
Yeah, all the blockers.
So hard for Colopy to have the last 8, which he does. Colopy's going to bet here. I wonder if Danzak is going to attempt to take this pot away as a bluff with his 3 8s in his hand. This is the flop. I mean, if you have 8-8-8-3, this is kind of the flop you want to see if you are willing to turn your hand into a bluff.
There is a check raise from Zach, so doing exactly what Kevin was just talking about, taking all those blockers and applying them to try and take this one away.
Yeah, if you're not doing it in this spot, you're just not bluffing enough.
Colby comes along. King of clubs on the turn. Colby has 2 clubs in his hand. Zach has 1 club, but Colby right now with that backdoor flush draw to go along with the flop straight.
Colby obviously has the check mark. Dan Zach drawing completely dead. It's going to take some miracle on the river and some very well-timed aggression for Dan Zach to take down this pot.
I mean, we talked about the blockers for Zach, of course, having those 3-8s. Colby has an 8 as well, so, you know, there is some blocker thing where he's like, you know, yes, I have a straight, I'm probably not folding, but it's also good that I have an 8 where it can deny some chance that Zach has the 8-9. He does go for it.
Dan
$2 million.
Does go for it. Colby cannot fold this hand. This would have to be some sort of insane live read.
Thrown in, and you're like, oh, they tabled their hand, or oh, they folded, or oh, that was a chip, you know, so. Wow,
oh my gosh.
He gets it through.
Show him.
Dan
Show
Zach.
him.
Oh my gosh, he's
No.
gonna rub it in. Oh my Lord.
Oh my gosh.
Shows the 3-8s.
So funny and unexpected when it comes out of his mouth.
Well, 80% of a royal flush here on the ace-jack, jack, 2-heart board for Klein, well in front of Afriat, who is just a sneeze away from mucking this 6-7, one would imagine. Klein plays it as a check back, Maria. Hits the queen. Not sure how cozy that will leave him.
I would say that it feels a little sus when the under the gun opener checks back that type of flop. That does feel like it would hit their range quite often.
I mean, like
so
with stacks are.
doesn't seem like a spot where Afriat wanted to stab on the turn or continue to this delayed c-bet, although he is giving it some thought.
135.
Oh, and this is the argument in favor of maybe c-betting on the flop, as now Klein faces the check raise to 135,000. He's got heaps of hand, Maria, but as played, one could certainly see some Jack X combos in Afriat's range. Bill, with too much equity to go away, calls the extra 100. Now Afriat, completely adrift, was hoping to take it down on that flop, and this is a really disastrous card for him, because if he had the jack, Maria, now sticky ace X has him beat.
Right.
So what's he going to try to represent?
Wow.
Oh,
It looks so pretty for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wisman in the big blind comes along with 6-5 offsuit. 3-3-8 on the flop. Very nice looking flop for pocket tens.
What do you got? You already put your bets in, no? You already put your bets in, no?
Yeah, exactly.
So the lines, you don't care about the lines moving? Yeah. Because everyone's going to follow you, obviously.
You got the Chiefs? I got the Rams doing the Super Bowl.
Nice job.
Optimistic.
Why don't you want to discuss on stream?
No.
Then there you go. I'm just curious.
The first game I have, this Texans.
Was 3.5?
And I have a few over-unders. I have money line.
1 second.
What was that?
260 plus 120. It wasn't 3.5. It was 2, I think, the spread.
I was going to say, yeah, okay. I thought it would be higher.
No. 60?
Wiseman coming with a check raise here.
What about the other games?
Nothing yet. Well, I have some random bullshit.
Not going to be shaking Kislinski on this street, but we'll see what comes on the turn and maybe even the river.
The Rams favored the first game? No, right?
They're not going to be favored any game.
How much are they?
Like,
450?
that's something like if you win that, like, and it gets publicized, someone's gonna write an article about it.
It's like one of those sick bets.
Look at this, Donnie. Wisman continuing for 450.
Fuck it, though.
What's his
Are you gonna
What's
hide
his
this for
thinking
next
here? You know, Kislinski hasn't played a hand yet.
Let it ride.
Talking to Jesse Lewis. That's
Go
what
for
you
check
got
raise
there,
and
so.
continue barreling.
Even Jesse has to hedge.
I mean,
what would Sean Perry do?
He's going to have hands like he has, you know,
We're all
bigger
in.
pairs in his range, but he's also going to have,
Let's admire that guy.
I don't know, the king queens of the world, the ace king, the ace queens, you know. Maybe he has a pair of sevens, something like that, right, where it's an under pair to the eights, and Wisman can just represent the 8 here and just barrel off. He doesn't think that Kislinski has a lot of 8s.
Wow. Did he announce all in? He did. Wiseman is all in with 6 high. Ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves a massive bluff. Is Kislinski going to give up his pair of 10s? Is he going to buy the fact that he's representing like 8? And he does lay it down. Wow. Kislinski folds his 10s.
Fun
Wiseman
spot, huh?
goes check
Fun
raise
spot,
flop,
yeah.
bet turn,
Fun
shove river, and bluffs Kislinski off his hand. Wow. What an awesome hand that was. It's a nice holding. Almost had a family pot.
Queen 7-4, 2 diamonds. Chidwick takes the lead with that pair of 7s. Not an entirely horrible flop for Foxon. I mean, backdoor spades. That Jack-10 working with the queen there for some backdoor straight possibilities.
Sid in the chat is saying, you guys need to make some graphics for this stuff because it's pretty confusing to follow. It's all happening on the fly, and I think we will put a graphic
so you
out. Might as well stick around for tonight's
3:45.
outcome, and then, of course, tomorrow we're streaming the final table of event number 6, which will then decide and fully lock in who's going to be in the top 40.
You guys want to see bluffs.
1.9.
Look at your screen right now because
how much of a factor is the ace of diamonds in Sovereigns' hand here, Donnie?
well, I mean, it removes some combinations for Foxon. Not that Foxon would necessarily always be check raising, you know, with like the nut flush draw here. But there are some backdoor possibilities for Sam Soverall holding that ace of diamonds. It's also a card that if a third diamond comes, maybe Soverall elects to turn his hand into a bluff if he thinks, you know, Foxon has, I don't know, a queen, something like that, that he can now represent a flush knowing that he's blocking the nut flush. Foxon gets a dreamy turn card here, king of spades, now open-ended, now with the spades coming in. When you're check raising this flop in Foxon's position, I mean, maybe the 9 of spades is the better card to come off, but king of spades is pretty darn awesome.
Are you surprised to see him check here, Donnie?
No, I mean, he's fine to check here. There might be some king high flush draws that Foxon has, or sorry, that Soverall has.
320.
King queen that Soverall has.
Double check raise.
All in.
It's a lost art, and Alex Foxon pulls the trigger. Sam Soverall completely. I mean, what do you have?
Like sixes.
We should see a lot of aggression on different boards. Raz picks up a pair of 6s. He's not too happy with the flop. And then Eldridge has ace 10, 7, 7. Could have the best hand at the moment, which in fact he has. And he also has a nut gut shot.
Checks.
Different possible ways to make the best hand. A 7 gives him a set. 8 gives him a straight. Ace gives him top pair. Backdoor diamonds. Check back is completely standard. We see a turn, which is even just overcards.
Yeah, 2.5.
2.5 million is the bet from Rast. Action now back on over to Eldridge.
I think if he wants to make a better hand fold than the one that he has to go bigger, maybe like 5.5. Against a third pot size bet, Eldridge has an easy decision with a lot of the hands that beat Rast at this point. For example, the ace 10, 7, 7, which does make the call. River is a 5, so Rast makes a straight. Some other straight gets there, the 7, 8, which is not a huge concern because Eldridge checked back on the flop. What's interesting though is that Eldridge actually blocks 7-8 with 2 7s and might turn this hand into a bluff, blocking the nuts. Knowing Eldridge is certainly a possibility. He has been very aggressive in various spots.
7
million is the bet.
And look at this, Rast going for value, betting 7 million with his 6-high straight. Now Eldridge has two of those 7s necessary for the 7-8 straight. How much does that impact this decision?
The bet is too large to call. It's raise.
Wow.
Or fold.
Eldridge moves all in.
Exactly. It is possible that he has 7-8. If he has a hand like Queen Jack 7-8.
Wow. Brian Rast lets it go. And David Eldridge gets away with murder here at the final table. What an incredible bluff. And Rast now in real trouble. 12.7 million is all he has left. Yes, that is 12 big blinds.